Nick Lodolo delivers. Nick Lodolo dazzles. Nick Lodolo deals, and the Cincinnati Reds get their first series win of the year. We're breaking it down for you on today's Locked On Reds.
You are Locked On Reds, your daily Cincinnati Reds podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Reds podcast. Locked On Reds is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name's Stephen Offenbaker. Eric Matthews back again in the guest host chair. We love the Cincinnati Reds. We love baseball. We love talking about this team. We love talking about this sport, and we love talking about Reds baseball with you. We've been covering this team in various forms, TV, radio, newspaper, you name it. We've done it for a long, long time. We are excited to talk about this series win with you today. On today's show, we're going to get into Nick Lodolo. He delivered. He did exactly what the Cincinnati Reds needed him to do in order to get the second win of this series. We're going to be talking about Spencer Steer, who continues to work his way back and look better and better and better and be the guy that the Cincinnati Reds can rely on while others are missing from the lineup. And of course, 2 wins down, 1 to go. Nick Martinez will be taking the mound for the Reds today, going for a series sweep. Lots to get to today. On today's episode, this brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. All right, Eric. Woo! 2 in a row. That's a winning streak, I think. The Reds have taken their first series of the year from the San Francisco Giants, a Giants team that came into this series having only 1 loss and performing really, really well. The Reds pitching has shut that lineup down on back-to-back nights. It's not something we've been able to say a lot.
Steven, I am a simple fella. I enjoy a good cigar. I love my dog named Larkin. And I love Wu-Tang Clan. But probably one of the things I love the most is whenever the team that I've been following my entire life goes to the West Coast and actually wins a series, because that's rare. It doesn't happen all that often. And the fact that they've won the way that they've won these first 2 nights, it's not been impressive, but it feels like a Tito type of win, where they make the right moves at the right time. He tinkers with a few things, and it works itself out. Now, the pitching is the part that really sticks out. And I'm excited to talk about Nick Lodolo. I'm probably more excited to talk about Graham Ashcraft at some point.
I knew you would be.
Yes. But Nick Lodolo did exactly what you and I were talking about on yesterday's show. He was the number 2 guy. He kept the momentum going. It's funny how we were talking about his walk to strikeout, where we're not worried about the strikeouts because the walks aren't up. In the very first batter, he walks him.
I blame you for that, by the way. You forced me to talk about that yesterday, and we screwed the whole thing up.
If Nick wants to blame us, I'm okay with that, because he got a 6-inning win and looked impressive. But
yeah, 6 innings of 3-hit baseball, Eric. You mentioned the 1 walk there. He struck out 3. Again, not overpowering. How's this for a number? 0.96. That is Nick Lodolo's ERA after today's start.
The dude rocks. Hunter Green is him, but Nick Lodolo rocks. And like that 1-2 combo, the top of your rotation, that's going to be hard to deal with the entire year if they stay on this path. Because I hate to repeat myself, but it's true. They're no longer talented throwers. They are educated pitchers that are going out there, working the count, taking on batters head on. They're not afraid of anything. They're using their breaking pitches. Nick Lodolo's probably most effective pitch today was his changeup. And he got guys out in front. He got ground balls. He was effective. And he was what you want him to be in a number 2 starter.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a bit more of the effect of, as each of these guys has these kind of starts, the next dude up, the next guy in the rotation is not going to want to be the guy that comes out and doesn't match their performance. I think they're going to continue to elevate each other. I loved what I saw from Nick Lodolo. This was nowhere near his best effort. We've seen him pitch. We've seen him pitch better. We've seen better starts from him, but he is effective. He's missing barrels. He's limiting contact. You know, he's not blowing guys away, but he's not hurting himself. And it's that evolution, right? You talked about it pretty eloquently yesterday, Eric, talking about it with Hunter Green, moving and transitioning from thrower to pitcher. We're seeing Nick Lodolo transition from thrower to pitcher. And you add in these other guys, Martinez and Singer, in this rotation that are already pitchers. And finally, the Reds have a rotation that I am really just excited day in and day out for the next guy, the next guy, the next guy. They are really, really fun to watch. Now, Nick Lodolo didn't go the near complete game that Hunter Green did the night before. So the bullpen had to cover some more innings. And your guy, this is the guy you were talking about yesterday, Graham Ashcraft. Was he going to lean into it? Was he going to embrace this reliever role? Well, it sure looked to me like he embraced it yesterday, because in 2 innings of work, he allowed a hit and struck out 2 goose eggs on the board for Graham Ashcraft as well.
Today was one of those rare days where I got to listen a little bit on the radio the first couple innings, and then I got to watch the rest on television. And Chris Welch had brought this up previously, and then Cowboy on the television broadcast talked about Graham Ashcraft's heart rate being up the first time he came out of the bullpen. When I heard that story, my thought process went into, he is exactly where he needs to be as a ball player. He is a bullpen guy. He has the bulldog mentality. He has the pitching arsenal to be effective in the bullpen. And tonight, 2 innings. He went out there last night, 2 innings, and just was shut down. And there was never a point in the 7th or 8th where you thought the Giants had an opportunity to get momentum going. At no point did you feel that way. And when you have a guy that's accepted his role, because pitchers ordinarily don't like transitioning from starter to bullpen guy. They usually don't do that until the tail end of their career or at the very beginning of their career, because, hey, we're figuring this out as we go. There's been guys we've seen it over the years. Tony Cingrani was one of those type of guys that we saw a handful of years ago. So, like, you see guys and how they do that. Graham Ashcraft, from that story that Cowboy was talking about, he has fully embraced this, which makes this bullpen so much better and so much stronger if he is in that role and doing what he does best and just being a bulldog.
Now, not to be undone, we talked a lot about how we wanted to see this bullpen managed yesterday, Eric, you and I. And, you had mentioned you would have liked to have seen Emilio Pagan yesterday instead of Tony Santillan in a high leverage save situation at the end of the game. And my counter was, I like Santillan there because I think Santillan's going to profile out as a closer eventually. And I wanted to have Pagan available for tonight. And this is exactly why, because I knew there were probably going to be more innings to cover tonight than there were or in Lodolo's start versus Hunter Green's start. And it played out exactly like I had hoped. Graham Ashcraft coming in, being a shutdown guy for innings 7 and 8. And then you get Emilio Pagan coming in to pitch a perfect 9th inning for his 2nd save of the season. And we head into a game today, still having now Tony Santillan available, still having probably Emilio Pagan available. I don't know that I would pitch Ashcraft again, having a 2-inning performance, but there's talented arms available in the back of a bullpen going for a sweep. And I like how this bullpen is starting to kind of come together.
We talked about it yesterday, and I said this bullpen is somewhere between shaky and stable. I don't know what you call that, but it's leaning more, if you're looking at barometer, it's leaning more towards stable because of what we have seen these last few nights and so far this season, in what has now been 12 games. The thing that really impressed me about Emilio Pagan, 3-out save, 7 pitches. 6 of them were strikes. He put the ball in play. He was effective. He went out there. It was no questioning like Alexis Diaz, walk a guy. None of that. Anytime he's been out there in a high leverage situation this year, he has been the guy that has been like, nope. He's going to put it in there. He's going to throw strikes. He is not going to risk anything by putting anybody on base that doesn't earn it by a hit. And he's effective. That's why when Santillan came out there a couple nights ago, I was like, Pagan is the guy with the experience, and I want the – but Santillan worked out. I'm excited to see where this keeps going. I do believe, though, Pagan is going to be the guy. Even when Diaz comes back, I still think he's going to be the guy that's going to be the quote-unquote closer. I know we've had the conversation about closer by committee. I really believe Pagan is going to be that guy for a while.
All right, we'll see how that plays out. Now, listen, as good as the pitching has been 2 nights in a row, the Reds have had to score some runs. And coming up, we're going to dig into the resurgence of Spencer Steer and talk about a flurry of roster moves that the Reds made yesterday as well. We've got all that coming up next. Today's episode is brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. If you're looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts around. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to keep you feeling fuller longer. I love these Wonderful Pistachios. They have a salt and vinegar flavor with no shells. I love these no shell ones because I keep them at my desk. There's no mess. I can snack while I'm trying to get my work done, trying to get ready to talk to you guys about some Reds baseball. And I'm not going to be hungry when it's time to record because I can keep them here and they're not messy. If you want to get snacking and get cracking, get yourself some Wonderful Pistachios. They are the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. If you can't follow us here on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our audio feeds. We're pretty much available wherever you get your podcast. You can take us on the road. You can take us to the gym. You can take us wherever you're going. If you can't watch us, you can listen to us talk about Reds each and every day. All right, my man, Eric, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the resurgence of Spencer Steer. And I know he's still not got world beater numbers. He's still not playing at an all-star level, but he is definitely moving in the right direction. Another good performance from Spencer Steer, 2 for 4. Batting average is still a struggle, but he managed to score the winning run in a 1-0 ball game last night in San Francisco. Second game in a row that Spencer Steer has figured into the limited scoring of the game to get the Reds a win. I really like the direction he's going. I think that shoulder is feeling all right. I think his timing is getting better with each and every at bat. And I'm looking for him to kind of break out here pretty soon.
2 doubles today and easily could have had a third. And he is doing what we've seen him do before the injury going into this season. I'll say this, and I know the look you may give me, and I know the comments that may follow from this. I'm at a point now where put him in the 4-hole. Try it. Move Gavin Lux out of the 4-hole. Candy's not the guy right now. We could talk about that if we want to. Austin Hayes is a few days away from getting there. Move him up. Put him in that role. See what he does. I think his average right now is like around 142. But these last 3 games, he has shown that the Spencer Steer that we've seen is making that appearance now because he's getting his timing down. Because he even talked about in the game. It was another one of those things brought up by Cowboy, is he wasn't seeing the ball the first week of the season. But now he is, and now he's comfortable. For the time being, until you get Austin Hayes back, until you get Tyler Stevenson back, put him in the 4-hole. I like Gavin Lux, but we talked about this. He's not a 4 guy. Spencer Steer has been at times. Why not try him there now?
He has been at times. With his performance in last night's game, 2 for 4, scoring that run, his batting average up to a blistering 161.
Okay.
But you're not wrong. I think to close out this series in San Francisco, I'd leave it alone. But when you get back to Great American Ballpark to face the Pittsburgh Pirates, maybe you're onto something. Maybe you do move Spencer Steer up higher in the lineup now that he's getting going. I do want to make mention the Reds made a flurry of roster moves before yesterday's game. Most notably, you talked about this, Matt McClain to the IL, retroactive with, never seen this designation before, a slight hamstring strain. And I've never seen the word slight in that injury descriptor before. I guess the Reds are trying to tell us to relax. I don't know. But I don't trust anything they tell me when it becomes medical. So we'll see. But you kind of alluded to this when we were talking about Matt McClain being able to get in the lineup and break out. The Reds have decided to shut him down a little bit. Hamstring, soft tissue injuries. We spent a lot of time on this. I'm not opposed to it. I would rather shut him down for a week now than not have him a month from now. So I'm okay with that. Also in these roster moves, Eric, Carson Spires, we hardly knew you, off to Louisville. He has been sent down to AAA. And of course that means 2 spots on the active roster. The return of the Will Benson hype train. Jeff posted on Twitter that he's dusting off his little pumper car. The Will Benson hype train back in full effect as Will Benson is called up to the big league club, and joining him, Noelvi Marte. Now, this is going to require some more moves very shortly because they sent a pitcher out and brought in 2 hitters. They're going to need to activate a pitcher for the weekend series. So it looks like one of those 2 guys will be here just for a little bit. Somebody's going down.
I don't think either one is going down. I think Hurtubise is the one that's going to be going down.
That was what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, I have a feeling that he's going to be the one that's going down. Jake Fraley, I don't think is safe yet. He had a good game today. He had a
it was a 2-hit game, right?
Yeah.
And nice for him to have a multi-hit game.
Yeah, I mean, one was kind of a bloop over the second baseman. The other one was full barrel up the middle, and it made you think because he also had a great catch. But one game does not dictate what has been 11 questionable ones, putting it nicely. But I don't think either Benson or Marte are going to go down whenever possibly Abbott is being called up for Saturday. That's the rumor that's out there. I think it's going to be Hurtubise that's going to be the one going down because I think Will Benson's here to stay. He got his head on straight. He went through training camp. He had a good spring training. The first week in Louisville, he's played really well. I think he's still hitting over 400 in Louisville with a couple of home runs. Marte is one of those ones. I'm not against the move. I guess I don't understand it right now because the thing that I think that helps Marte is everyday playing time. Mm-hmm. How is he going to get it in this situation? Because he's not a better fielder than Candelario, because Candelario isn't very good, but Marte isn't either in terms of fielding third base. He may have a hot bat, which Candy doesn't have, but are you going to sit Candelario that has that type of contract and that type of money?
Well, they're not going to do it today because Verlander's on the mound for San Francisco. So you don't run Noelvi Marte, who has struggled in his last big league appearance, out there against a future Hall of Famer when you've got Candelario who can bat left-handed.
Another great point. So I'm a little confused by the Marte move because the only way I could see that working is if Spencer Steer could play second and then Candelario's hitting DH or Marte's hitting DH or CES will hit DH. And then that's the only thing I could see, but I don't think there's any indication that Spencer Steer to be playing second base with that shoulder. If I'm wrong, well, pleasant surprise, I guess, but I'm curious to see what all comes out of this when they get back to Cincinnati for the Pittsburgh series.
Yeah, I think Marte is going to see limited time, man. I don't know that he's
that doesn't help him, though.
Time. It doesn't help him. I think that, I'm not sure that I agree that it'll be Hurtubise back out. I think it might be Noelvi back out so that he goes and gets that everyday playing time. I think they're just taking the opportunity to have an extra bat. Maybe they get him in as a sub in a couple games before they send him back out, because I think Will Benson gets playing. I think Will Benson starts today.
I agree.
Verlander on the mound, you put that lefty bat in there and see what happens. It's going to be interesting.
But why?
I don't know that you want to, I don't know who else would you have brought up? I guess if you were going to put an extra bat in the lineup and you look around AAA right now, Noelvi Marte is the logical choice to bring up for a couple games. Now, if he stays here for 2 weeks, Eric, and doesn't play, that's a problem. But if he's just here for a couple games and is limited, it's not a big deal.
To answer your question, Will Callahan. He is a solid glove, and he can play multiple positions in the infield. He's a utility guy at AAA. Is why not call up Callahan rather than Marte, unless you're going to keep Marte up for a few weeks. If you're going to call him up and then he's there for a couple of games and then you send him right back down, why? I just don't see why take him out of the Louisville lineup when they're playing the next 3 days and you have an off day in between, but traveling from San Francisco back to Cincinnati. Like Callahan would be the guy to put in that situation. Just my analysis of that is don't screw with the guy's routine and let him keep doing what he's doing unless there is a plan for him. Now, if there's a plan, cool.
Right.
But
I didn't look up the 40-man roster implications as far as Callahan, but I know that Marte's already on the 40. No corresponding moves had to be made. I'd have to look for Callahan. I think that just it was easy. I think that's why.
maybe
We'll see how it plays out. But I know this. I do hope that they have some success. This Reds lineup. As happy as I am to be talking about back-to-back wins, we're talking about 3 runs in 2 games, right? Now the pitching has been amazing and has held the Giants to no runs, but you would hope that this lineup continues to break out. You mentioned Candelario earlier, and I wanted to talk about him for just a second before we get out of this segment, because another, terrible performance, 0 for 4, 2 Ks. His batting average now sits at 140, OPS of 371. Ugh. You have to hope, can we make it till May when he gets hot? Jeff was tweeting about this earlier. I asked him, May is coming, right? Like, it's almost May. I don't know how much longer you can continue to run him out there the way that he's been swinging the bat.
So I've liked Candelario since day one. And I feel like, especially this year, he is a clubhouse guy that is one of the leaders in that clubhouse as a veteran. I like him a lot, and I think he's a guy that will pay dividends as the season goes. But players are who they are on the back of their baseball cards. And he is a guy that doesn't matter if he's with the Reds, the Cubs, or the Tigers. He does not hit at the beginning of the year in cold weather. He never has. But now when he gets into May, it's gangbusters. We saw it last year.
Yeah, we did, because I was ready to run him out of town on the end of April last year when I went to Texas and watched him down there. And the very next week, he took off.
I think he's that guy. Now, if and when he ever leaves Cincinnati, I wish him the best and hope he goes to Miami, where it never gets below 85. But it's just, it doesn't seem like he's a guy that just responds well playing in cold weather at the very beginning of the season. During training camp and spring training, he did fine. Like, he was hitting the ball. I think he had a homer and a few doubles. Like, he was showing. And he did the same thing last year. I was in Goodyear, and I was like, oh, Candelario looks like he's in prime shape. Good signing. And then we saw what happened in April. I'm frustrated, too, because the thing that really drives me crazy is his at-bats, they look lackadaisical. Like, he's fooled a lot. If it's a breaking ball that's down and in, he's swinging every time, and it's frustrating. But he is human, and he has shown that when the month flips to May, something changes in his mind or whatever. I'm willing to give him the leeway on that one because he is a professional and he is an established veteran that they have signed to a big money deal from last year. I want to pay off, but I'm also the guy a handful of years ago goes, Willie Taveras will be fine. Corey Patterson will be fine. Don't worry.
Oh my. I don't know if he's ever going to live up to that contract, but I know this. The Reds are in a position to go for a sweep today. And coming up, we're going to talk about what that might look like and what the Reds are going to need to do with Nick Martinez on the mound. We got that coming up next. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place so you can stop just managing your money and start building wealth. It has all-in-one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Thanks, as always, for making Locked On Reds your first listen each and every day. Make sure you're checking out the postcast after each and every game. Tim Daniel has you covered over there with instant analysis and reaction to whatever the Reds are doing. I'm excited for him that he finally has got a series win and some wins to talk about the last few days. He got off to a hard start having to cover all those losses. So I'm glad for him to be able to have some good news to bring to you guys. Make sure you're following that. Make sure you're checking him out each and every night and then checking us out each and every day. All right, Eric. Nick Martinez, opportunity to go for a sweep, only going up against future Hall of Famer Jason. I do that every time. Justin Verlander. Jesus, I get his first name wrong every single time. He's facing Verlander. The Reds did an okay job against Verlander the last time they faced him in Cincinnati. I think the key to this is to get him to throw a lot of pitches and make him battle, make him work, and get into the Giants bullpen. For an opportunity for the Reds to win this game. Conversely, with Nick Martinez, we saw him pitch really, really well until he runs out of gas, especially in that first start. We saw him get the 5 innings and then things kind of fell off. For me to consider it a successful Nick Martinez start, I don't need him to go out there and match, or at least try to match Hunter Green. If he manages to pull that off, cool. But what I'm really expecting from him, 6 innings, limit the Giants to less than 2 runs in a start and give the Reds offense an opportunity to try and get another win. I don't need Nick Martinez to try and be Cy Young reincarnate. I just need him to go out there and pitch effectively.
The best you can ask is, right. And I believe what we see from Nick Martinez in his third start is what we're probably going to see for the rest of the year in this role, I believe. And I say that, and I got done defending Candelario a few minutes ago. But it feels like from a pitching perspective that when a guy you can't dictate their first start, good or bad. Their second start usually is close to or opposite. It's never really in between, but their third start is usually the in between. This is what you're going to get consistently. So if Nick Martinez is the guy that can go out there and be the number 3 starter or number 4 starter, however you want to put it, with Andrew Abbott back, then 6 innings, he's an innings eater. That's who he is, and he'll get you a few strikeouts. He'll keep you in a ball game. Is he the guy that you want out there that's going to be clinching game 3 of the divisional series? I don't know, but he is a guy that's going to be effective. Is he going to be effective as a starter? And you and I talked about this during spring training. I still see him as a bullpen guy. I see him as what Ian Jabot currently is, the innings eater out of the bullpen. That is a guy that can go in the 5th or 6th when you need him, and can close that gap to get to the bullpen and keep you in a game. But the money he's being paid is starter money, and he is a veteran. In this rotation, as good as it is, having a veteran in there is not a bad idea. So this third start, I'm going to be watching this one a lot more closely than I did the first 2 with Nick Martinez, because I really believe what we see in his third start is what we're going to get for the entire year.
Yeah, he's 0-2 right now. First start, he managed to go 6 innings before the wheels came off. He allowed 4 earned runs on 4 hits. Second start, 4 2/3 inning against Milwaukee. He gave up a home run in that game. He only struck out 2. He walked 2, allowed 3 earned runs. ERA currently not great. Early, but you're right. He's got to go out there and be better than that. He's got to go out there and get the Reds those 6 innings, but he can't allow more than a couple runs. Allowing 4 runs the way this offense is right now, as limited as this offense is right now, with all of the bats missing from this lineup, it's just a number that they really can't recover from, I don't think, very easily, especially with a guy like Verlander on the mound. So look at that. As far as the bullpen goes, if the Reds can, or if Martinez can keep the Reds in the game and get to around 6 innings, I'm confident in the bullpen and what they've got going on right now with the guys that are available heading into an off day. I feel like the bullpen could get the Reds to the finish line. It's really a question of what this offense is going to do. I like Will Benson getting his first licks in there against Verlander. He's got nothing to lose. Go out there and take some hacks. I hope that he doesn't go out there and play timid. We've not seen that from Will Benson. If anything, he plays with a lot of emotion and a lot of heart. So I really hope something big happens for him in this moment. Some triumphant return. We've seen that before from other players. We've seen that guys get called up from the minor leagues after being sent down and have a moment. I would love to see Will Benson have a moment in this game to help drive the Reds to a sweep.
Before we get out of here, I want to talk about the lineup. Where do you see Benson hitting in the lineup today?
I think you put him back down there in the greatest 9-hitter on earth role that he really thrived in. Not last year, but the year before, when they were batting him ninth. There was a long stretch of time where he performed in such a way that they were talking about him being one of the best number 9 hitters in baseball. I like him down there. I like him, not so much the pressure of putting him somewhere in the 4, 5, 6 range. I like having him down there at the bottom. If he's having a good day, it's almost like getting another leadoff hitter with some pop. So I wouldn't mind him down there again.
If they play Fraley tomorrow or today, I don't expect Fraley to be hitting number 2. So if Fraley's in the lineup and Dunn is out, then I think you move Benson to the 2. You put Benson at the 2, and then you put Fraley hitting 9th. That's what I would like to see happen. I think that is a leap that Tito will not make, but I would much rather see that than having Fraley hitting number 2 or the possibility of Espinal hitting number 2 is go lefty switch and Friedel, Benson, Ellie. I would love to see Spencer Steer hitting 4, but I think that's going to happen. It's going to be Gavin Lux again.
Right. I think so, at least until they get back to Pittsburgh. I'll say this. After you called the Matt McClain news, if Will Benson's batting 2 in today's game, I'm going to have to ask you to give me the phone number you're using to talk to Terry Francona, because you clearly will have had some kind of inside information. And that is where we're going to go ahead and wrap up this edition of Locked On Reds. Thanks, as always, for making us your first listen each and every day. Make sure you've clicked the notification bell, the subscribe, the likes, do all the things so that we can continue to talk Reds baseball with you. We're going to gather up all the news and hopefully be back in your feeds tomorrow talking about a series sweep against the Giants. Make sure you're subscribed, and we will keep you locked on Reds each and every day.
If Benson's hit number 2, I expect a text message again.
You'll get it.